The best tax break you've never heard of. I can almost guarantee you've never heard of this. It's insane. I tell you, man, back in my career, I've learned a lot in the time I've been doing financial planning. Having talked to life insurance agents was the best financial planning I've ever learned in my life, without question. Those guys are just trained well. They're trained on taxes. They're trained on financial planning, estate planning, well more so than I ever did as investments. And investments, you got trained on the difference between a mutual fund with high fees and an index fund, and then with low fees, now ETFs. That's it. And then some cost basis stuff, but not much more. It's crazy. All right. Why do I have these up here? What does these things say? All right, so we got Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, New Mexico, Nevada, Tejas, Washington, and Wisconsin. What do those states represent? Anyone want to guess? Again, Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, New Mexico, Nevada, Tejas, Washington, and Wisconsin. What are those? Those are called community property states, all right? I'm in a common law state. Everyone else is in a common law state, all right? Georgia, the north, the east, all that is common law states. Community property states, the biggest tax benefit you've ever heard of are in these states right here. And I'm gonna share with you how this works. It's insane, dude. I didn't know this until about 10 years ago. My man, David Tedesco, RIP. He said, read this book on living trusts. I read this book on living trusts. I said, is Vicky Schumacher, and I'll put the link in the show notes. I'm going to share with you an article that this lady Nina had written. She's in a law firm here in Tennessee. I'm in Georgia, Tennessee, and you're gonna be blown away. No other way around that. All right, so we got husband and wife. Wife's got the nice, pretty skirt on and nice long hair. Husband's bald. You know what I'm saying? Looks like Dave Ramsey, bald guy, or Joe Rogan. There we go, Joe Rogan, bald, short guy. Joe Rogan, short guy. I think Joe Rogan's like 5'2", something like that. Joint tenants of rights of survivorship they have. They have a joint tenants of rights of survivorship. So that means they have basically, when one guy dies, the other person gets the money. All right. This is a non-IRA account. It could be a real estate. It could be investment. It's just a taxable account. Their cost basis is $100,000. So we'll just say they bought Apple stock in 1997 at $7 a share, and it's grown to $1 million. All right. Everybody with me so far? So what this means is basically, Joe Rogan gets $500,000 of that, and his cost basis is $50,000. Hey, knucklehead, because they're splitting the account value, and they both have a half of the cost basis. Finnegan, come here. Finn, hold on just a second. Knucklehead up there barking. So he's got $500,000 account value attributed to him, a $50,000 cost basis, which means he has unrealized capital gain of $450,000. Right? Yes, right. Joe and Jane Rogan has cost basis, same thing as $50,000 and a fair market value of $500,000. Everybody with me on that so far? So between them, they have $100,000 as a cost basis, $1 million account value. If they were to sell this account today, they would pay tax on how much? If you said $900,000, you'd be right. They'd have a capital gain, a realized capital gain of $900,000. But what if Joe the Toe dies? Joe the Toe, he dies. What happens now? All right, now she gets this added to her. I forgot to put my weights on my blackboard here. She gets, let me get over here a little bit. Let me put this over. Hope y'all can still see what I'm doing. I'm just a cluster. I'm a cluster foxtrot. She gets his cost, so basically she'll get the step up in basis on this amount here. And it's added to her cost basis. So now she has a $550,000 cost basis. If the account value is worth $1 million, she'll have to pay long-term capital gain on $450,000. Everybody makes sense? So basically, she gets the step up in basis of Joe the Toe's half of the account. So that $500,000 steps up for her plus her own $50,000 cost basis. So essentially, 55% of the account is now tax-free to a Jane Rogan. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. I hope it does. So you're like, all right, good. That's pretty good. We'll take that. And if Joe Rogan dies, Jane Rogan gets basically half of the portfolio with a complete step-up basis. She can turn around and sell it the next day, and she only have to pay tax on $450. All right, so we don't want to sell that account if Joe the Rogan's in a world of hurt and he's not looking good for the world, because that would create a huge taxable hit right here. But it gets even better in community property states. I think they're 9, right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So here we got Josh and Charlotte. We'll just use that because we crush. We don't have $1 million, but we'll just pretend. We'll live vicariously through my YouTube channel. So now same thing, exact same scenario. Now this is not titled Joint Tenants and Rights of Survivorship. We don't want to title it like that. We want to title it as community property. All right, so the title is community property. When I die, so we're just saying we're back in Arizona. We're going back to the place we were married, Cave Creek, Arizona. Charlotte says, I want to go back to where we were married so I can see what I did for myself by marrying you, you big old ogre. Finnegan! We got Charlie the dogs running around upstairs. Yeah, boy. Charlotte's not going to be too happy with this barking dog because she's trying to do something. Oh, boy. Come here! Anyway, so what happens here, we'll get done here in just a second. So when I die, that $500,000 will transfer to me, to Charlotte, all right? So she'll have $1 million. So this transfers to me, to Charlotte, that $500,000, but the whole thing gets a step-up basis. The entirety of the account. Hers will step up, plus this will step up. The whole thing is $1 million step-up basis. If she sold it the very next day, there's no flipping income tax due. No income tax due. Isn't that nuts? In a community property state, I die if it's a title is community property. And again, you're going to talk to an attorney about this. Don't talk to me. I'm the jack of all trades. I know a lot about stuff to tell you about it where you can go talk to the experts. Go talk to J.O. or Danielle Roberts when it comes to Medicare. Go talk to life insurance people when it comes to conducting life insurance stuff. You know, I'm good, but I'm not an expert on the intricacies of various things. But I'm good enough to inform you guys. Community property state. So she gets his step up and she gets her own step up. Whereas here, she only got his step up. She has a $450,000 long-term capital gain. Here, no long-term capital gain. Tell me that's not nuts. It is. And even if you move to a common law, like they were talking, the lady from Tennessee that wrote the article over there, you move from a community property to a common law state, you want to talk to an attorney. Can I still keep my property titled as community property? Again, that's beyond my purview. I don't know how that works, but that would be something a good estate planning attorney can tell you to do. And like she said in there, don't mess it up by titling these things in joint tenants of rights or survivorship. If you have big potential for upside gains in terms of long-term capital gains. It could be a real estate asset too, by the way. It doesn't just have to be an investment account. It could be anything. Anyway, that's insane, dude. That's insane. That's why you're here, to learn stuff that you don't know, because that's what I do. I do the reading, I do the thinking, and you just go along and you say, Josh, I really like what you do. You're a very big help to me. I'm going to buy you a cup of coffee. It'll be in the Doobie Duke. Or I say, Josh, you really stink. I can throw rotten tomatoes at you, but I'm still going to buy you a cup of coffee. It'll be in the Doobie Duke. Don't forget to subscribe to my locals channel, Josh Scanlon. It'll be in the Doobie Duke as well. For $5 a month, we do live streaming twice a week. I won't be doing a live stream tomorrow, though, because for locals, because a good friend of mine from the Army, I've only seen once since we got out, and 30 years ago, man, over 30 years ago, is coming over. He and his better half, so it'll be fun. So no live stream tomorrow, but if you guys got thoughts, questions, and concerns, put them in the show notes. See you.